Hello and welcome back to the greenhouse. So not a long video today. I am here with just one job in mind, and that is harvesting our first cucumbers. Now foolishly I decided I'd make this video in the middle of the day. It is blazing hot out there and it's really hot in here. So everything's looking slightly sad. I'm probably going to give it a drop of water in here. But pretty happy with how stuff is growing. The tomatoes are getting pretty big. They got good sized stems on them, which I'm very happy to see in these pots. And the cucumber is absolutely fantastic. So what we've got here are two plants in one large pot. Now, of course, these leaves are looking just a little bit droopy here. And that's simply because it's the middle of the day. These big old leaves are losing so much moisture. They're losing it faster than they can suck it up. But the compost in the pot is definitely hydrated. And there's a tray underneath and that's got some water in. So the plant itself is absolutely fine. So up this end, maybe you can see we're doing okay actually. We've got one fruit at each node. So I mean, if you've looked at the way cucumbers grow, you've got the main stem comes up, and then in each leaf axil you get one of these tendrils. You can pinch them off if you like. They don't do anything particularly useful when you're tying the plant in. I don't tend to bother. You will get a side shoot, and on these I'm just growing one stem per plant, so I pinch off the side shoot and then you get hopefully one fruit in each position. And I think at the moment we do have a fruit in each position. What we don't have on this plant are any of the male flowers, and that's because this is an all-female hybrid. I've been away too long, our neighbours have been away too long. If I put an old-fashioned greenhouse cucumber on here that needs the male flowers removed, we're never going to get to them. And for that reason I'm growing a hybrid, even though I'd prefer the flavour of some of the old varieties. I got to say though, once again, I think this is our third time growing this particular variety. I'm really quite impressed with almost all of its attributes. The flavour is fine. I think the older, more interesting varieties, they've got an edge on flavour, but for almost everything else, these plants are fantastic. They're vigorous, they're healthy, they're really reliable and productive, and they can produce some enormous cucumbers. I'm not letting these grow to their crazy full size. I mean, they'll be huge. What's interesting is that they will keep their quality even when the cucumbers are really quite massive. And that's a little bit different from some of the older varieties I've grown. If you let them get too big, they quite quickly lose quality. These can be huge, and in fact I was going to cut these yesterday, and I think they're already plenty big enough, certainly big enough for our purposes. So I started with 3 plants and one was a spare. The neighbours have that now, and we've got 2 here. When they get, it looks at the beginning like, well, you're not going to get enough cucumbers, but when they get going, they just produce an enormous stream of these things and they don't stop. So yeah, there's going to be more cucumbers than we know what to do with very soon. Let's take a look down the business end of the plant. Well, it's a little bit tricky to get the camera in to show you what's going on, but you can see the collection of fruit here. This one is in a good state. There's a larger one at the back. I'll probably take that one today. There's a smaller one here. I don't know why this one's smaller. You would have thought that would be the first, but it will develop in due course. And then we've got this succession coming. I mean, it's only going to be a few days before the next one is also ready to take, and that's just from one plant. So I mean, there's 2 fruit that are ready to harvest here on this plant. There's at least one, I think actually the largest fruit on the neighbouring plant and then there's another 3 that will be ready within a week or so, I would think. So looking at the soil, obviously the very surface is dry, but if I just have a scratch around, now there's still moisture in there. So they're happy. I might give them a drop more water before I leave, but right now I'm going to cut a couple of these cucumbers. I want to cut them rather than just rip or twist them off. Well, I don't know how much of that showed up. Hopefully it was okay. It's a little bit crowded in here for getting the camera in a suitable position. So there we go. 2 nice cucumbers, not too big at this stage. I think that's probably a decent size for this plant. They will easily get twice this size, much bigger in diameter and a fair bit longer, and they will still be just as good to eat as this one is. But anyway, the first harvest, and it doesn't do any harm to pick some of those fruits off when they're at a usable size. There's plenty more coming. I don't think there'll be a week now before this plant keels over at the end of the season. It's not going to be a week now where we can't come down and pick some cucumbers. So that's the first harvest from the greenhouse this year. Like I said, everything else is looking pretty good. I'm just going to give it a drop of water in here, and then I'm going to get out of. Well, with great comic timing, just as I was about to say I'll finish up the watering and get out of this heat, the camera shut off because it had overheated. It is getting just about as cranky as me in its old age. So I had to move over to a shady spot, wait for the camera to cool down. But anyway, that is it for this video. Thanks ever so much for watching, and bye for now.